Well, we're Friday at the NTI Townsville 500, getting action underway on the track today, and 3 team representatives here joining us this morning after the first practice session of the weekend. Matt Stone from Matt Stone Racing, David Cauchi from Grove Racing, and Brad Jones from, of course, Brad Jones Racing. Matt, you're the lucky man in the middle, so I'll start with you. Only 30 minutes in the books, and we know practice 1 on street circuits is a bit of a hit and miss. You don't really necessarily know where you're at, but what's the feeling in the MSR camp coming out of the first session of the weekend?
Yeah, we're not too bad. We just ran our program, didn't really worry too much about the time sheets. But we did struggle here a bit last year, so we're a little bit anxious coming into the weekend. So, guys tried a few things, ran through their program, and yeah, hopefully we can build from there.
It's about the midway point of the 2025 season. You guys have been, I don't want to say feast or famine, sounds a little bit exaggerated, but have had days where you're up at the front and days where you're battling. So how's the mood been at this point in the year, and how are you taking those steps to progress to get back to the top step of the podium?
Yeah, our season this year has really been the highs and lows sort of thing. Like, we've had some great days at the track, and we've had some average days. What we need to do is, mediate those bad days into just, okay, and then our points wouldn't be so sporadic. We've had some great point scoring rounds, and a lot of podiums, more podiums than we've had in recent years. But yeah, we've also had some terrible days where we're just sitting at the back. So we've really got to try and balance out the bad days and try and get our season back on track.
Townsville known for its defense presence, and it's not often you see a supercar on the back of an Army truck. You guys have been out and about in the local area. Got a new look on Cam Hill's car. Tell us about your involvement with the Army. I'm sure this event is quite a special event for you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a long-standing relationship with Ramey division of the Australian Army. So to come to Townsville, which is such a big Army town, and be able to activate and work with those guys has been great. And I've also got a big presence up here in North Queensland with BMA, BHP. So it's good to really, hopefully we can get the results for all the people we've got here at the track this weekend.
Excellent. And looking forward to the next round coming up. You expand by 50%. You've got a third car back on track. Tell us about bringing Cricky back on board for another crack, and looking forward to the enduros.
Yeah, look, the wildcard program's been great. It's just been a long time between drinks with the first round of the year and then waiting until Queensland next month or later this month. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting that program going again, and then it's full speed ahead with 3 rounds back to back. So it's basically a full-time program with 3 cars for the next 3 rounds. So busy days for the whole team, but yeah, we're all prepped, ready to go.
It's exciting. We're looking forward to it as well. I'll look over to David Cauchi from Grove Racing. Boy, you guys are looking pretty smart at the moment. Coming out of Darwin, 2 young guns on the podium throughout the weekend. Mood high in the Penrite camp?
Yeah, absolutely. The last few events have been, really good for the team, really good for both Matt and Kai. Really positive to see Kai get some podiums last weekend, which he's been just on the brink of for a few now, but he finally got a couple over the line. So, yeah, of course, the vibe in the team is really, really positive. So, yeah, we're looking forward to the weekend.
Looking at Kai specifically, I remember talking at the beginning of the year, there weren't necessarily expectations or goals to hit per se. Does that start to change now that he's getting up there and being at the front more regularly?
Yeah, for sure. Your expectations shift pretty quickly, but yeah, everyone knows how difficult it is for rookies in this championship because it's just ultra competitive. So we're being calculated and just going really just running our own program. Not looking at the scoreboard too much. Of course, we have goals and ambitions, but no, definitely keeping it quite low key and calm internally, and if we do a good job, the results will come.
Now, of course, when we were here 12 months ago, you guys were race winners. One of the talking points from you guys this year is you've gone from tracks where 12 months ago you struggled, that you were now at the front. This is a track where you guys were actually quite successful last year. So is the expectation, I guess, within the team or the mood that you guys are going to be right in the mix for more trophies this weekend?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I prefer, actually. Coming to a track where you've done well or going to a track where you've not done so well, which the last few have definitely been where we've not done so well, and we've managed to turn that around. So, yeah, again, we don't sort of look too much into that because a lot does change in 12 months. There's no guarantees that because we went well here last year that we'll be fast here this year. But all we can do is keep heading in the trajectory that we're heading and working through our sort of program and our processes. And again, if we do a good job, hopefully we'll be sat here again after some of these races, and if we don't, well, probably some of these guys will.
You've been on a roll lately, so I think there might be a decent chance of that at least. Looking over to Brad Jones. I know you detailed it a bit over the most recent weeks, but obviously I think the story that came out of Darwin for you guys, unfortunately with Jackson and his crash in the first race. Tell us how that rebuild has gone, and I guess he's back in a new chassis this weekend, correct?
Oh, he's not. He's back in his old chassis that we ran last year. So look, the car was worse than we probably thought when we first looked at it. So we still haven't put the centre section on a jig yet to work out whether it's something that we can save. But the boys got into it as soon as we got home. So the back clip and all the rear part of the car is off the Darwin car, and most of the other stuff is from the other car. You know, we're fortunate enough to have a complete car spare, so we just really just put it all together. It was sitting there as a pretty complete centre section, so we put a brand new front clip on it, and the boys came in, did an amazing job to make it a race car really quickly.
As they always seem to do with you guys. Talking on a more positive note, the general competitiveness of BJR in recent rounds has really picked up across all four of your cars. So can you speak to the general sense within the team that you guys are making that progress forward to start challenging for trophies again? Townsville's been a place where you've had success as well in recent years. So is it feeling a bit more positive there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the racing is also close at every round now that you don't need to be far off the mark, and you know, a couple of tenths and you're on the wrong side of where you want to be, and you're towards the back of the field. So I wouldn't say P1 gave me a ton of confidence, but it's very early days. You know, I'm still not sure how much I like the Friday race format. I think, but it'd be interesting. It certainly fills the day in. So. It's a very full program this weekend. Even though we've cut 50 Ks off each of the Sunday races, there's still a lot to get through. So it'll be a really interesting day, and see where we are at the end of it.
You sort of beat me to the punch. That was going to be my next question. But how important, I guess, it is, being that there's a race this afternoon, that you guys are on the game and get the car dialed in over these two practice sessions here?
I think actually the fact that you have a 100k race today probably gives you a little bit more room to move in terms of setup if you're chasing your car around a little bit. So I don't think it's critical. I think the fact that you race tonight gives you another opportunity to get your car right for the two 200k races Saturday and Sunday.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys. I'll open up to the room to journalists with questions here.
Cauchi, obviously 200k races this weekend, and the 200k races have been something that have been really strong for you and Matt. I think he scored more points than anyone else this season in the 200k races. Do you see that as a big opportunity to get some big points this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, we do enjoy the longer races, and it seems like our car works well for the longer stints and even some high deg circuits. But I think, like Brad said, with the racing today, teams are going to dial their cars in probably a lot better come Saturday, and then of course again by Sunday. So I think it's going to be super competitive by the time we get to those 200k races. So yeah, it's going to be tough out there.
And Matty's in a big fight for second for the championship now. He's clawed huge ground on Will over the past few rounds. How important is it for him to jump into second before the finals and to jump alongside GT and Enduros as well? And all of those bonus points are going to be crucial come the start of Enduros. How important is it to get him as high up the ladder as possible?
Yeah, very. So, you know, it's definitely a goal of ours to keep chipping away at particularly Will. And you know, of course, we'd love to get Kai up in there as well into the finals fight. So, yeah, it's all sort of coming to sort of crunch time. I mean, look, there's still a lot of points on offer in the Enduros as well. There's that can have some pretty big swings in those two events. But, yeah, this one is definitely one where we'd like to go home with another big bag of points.
And we've touched on Kai already, but to get a podium so early in his career, is that something that you expected from him at the start of the year, to be right up the front so early this season?
I mean, we knew he was a super talented kid, and I shouldn't call him a kid anymore. He's 20 now, so he's a grown-up.
He's actually a kid.
Yeah. But we knew he was super talented, and of course in the team, it's a huge it's a huge team effort. Kai's got to do his bit, and then the other 25 guys and girls have to do their bit as well. So it's all sort of coming together. But he's executed. He executed in Darwin at a track. Most impressive thing was it was a track that he actually hadn't driven at. So I think that's what made it super impressive for me and everyone that understands how hard this sport is. So probably earlier than we thought in some ways, but not overly surprised as well.
Matt, wildcard back next week, next round for Cam Crick, and obviously there's still a spot available officially alongside him for the Enduros. How far along are you in making an official announcement as to who Cricky's co-driver will be for the Enduros?
Behind the scenes, we're all set and carrying on and getting on with the motions. As for when we announce that publicly, we probably haven't put a date on it yet. We're just working through the bits and pieces. But because it's our second sprint round wildcard coming up at QR, we don't actually get a test day, so there's no sort of opportunity to get early laps for our co-driver until after the QR event at the Prix Enduro test day. So there's no real huge deadline for us on that. We're just sort of cruising along.
For 2026, Nick's already locked in, contracted. No word as yet as to what Cam Hill's doing next year. I'm sure you'd want to keep him, but what are you expecting to come of that? Have you started any discussions with Cam for a renewal for 2026 and beyond?
Sorry about that. Look, for us, we've got a bit of momentum going in the team, and we certainly like to carry that forward into next year. I think we've been building over the last few years, and we're quite happy with where we are, and we obviously want to build more. Want to get a bit further up at the championship, and definitely try and get two guys in the finals. So I think the momentum we've got is good, and we'd love to carry that into next year. But the silly season gets sillier every year, so we'll just work through the motions and see where we end up.
And talking of the Enduros, you sort of got a foot in both camps in terms of youth and experience with your co-drivers, with Cam McLeod alongside Cam Hill and Nick Percat with Tim Slade as well. How important is that going to be to sort of have a bet each way with co-drivers in that fight for finals? Because Nick and Cam, they're both right there and in amongst it.
Yeah, I think the Enduro is going to play a huge part in that, the bubble of the finals, which, both our drivers find themselves in, one on the right side of the bubble and one just on the wrong side. So I think Enduros will be a huge part of it. For us, the rookie and the pro is kind of something we've established, I guess. We've done it with our main driver lineup, and we've done the same with our co-driver lineup. I think this is our best shot at ever having a win at Bathurst, something we've always wanted to do, but this is the year where I look at it on paper and think we could actually achieve it. So, for us, we're putting a lot of effort into the Enduro season, and our main goal this year is 2 cars in the finals, but outside of that, it's all about Bathurst.
And for Brad, obviously big changes coming up next year with Toyota joining the team. You got Andre locked in under contract next year, but still three spots available in your team. From your point of view, would you like to see continuity with your driver lineup for next year?
I'm not. Yeah, look, it's that time of the year where you go through all the motions. I'm not looking at changing anything, especially. I always find it interesting reading that I've got 3 spots when one of them's my son. But we'll see what happens.
Brad, talking of your son, did
Hello,
you have to chastise him for driving a BMW Super Tourer?
Actually, it was a really interesting conversation, to tell you the truth. He has a lot more respect for his father, I think, after having a squirt round in one of those. It was, he really enjoyed it, and it was just a little bit before my time, that BMW, but he couldn't believe how hot it was inside the cabin. So he really enjoyed it. It was really interesting for him to get that opportunity as well.
To Matt and Brad, just on timing, how soon do you try to get 2026 sorted, or how not soon?
For me, honestly, I'm still looking at what we're doing this year, to tell you the truth, and we've got a lot on our plate, moving brands, and that's starting to gain momentum at the moment. So it's just something that'll get sorted out in due course, I think, for me.
For us, our plans are well underway for next year. Obviously, there's a few things that you can't do until they roll out in due course. Obviously, the calendar has a big effect on a lot of things as well, but for us, yeah, we're pretty much starting to tick the boxes for next year, and yeah, the biggest one being just locking in that driver lineup, but that's all working in the background.
Brad mentioned it before, but to Dave and to Matt, where do you stand on Friday racing? Is it a good thing?
It's definitely a big day. Definitely a big day for the teams. You know, I mean, as long as it's working for the you know, the fans want it, and it brings more people to the track, and people are watching it on TV, then it's probably the right thing to do. But yeah, definitely a big day out for us.
Yeah, I think probably much similar. Like, I think I'd rather race Friday afternoon than have 2 races on Saturday. I think it can be easier for the crew, but at the end of the day, I think it's driven by the spectators and the fans at home watching on TV.
And for me, I don't think that many people watch it. I think, you know, people that have got the availability to, unless they record it and watch it later, which somewhat defeats purpose and drops off some of our fans. So I think it's a novelty, sort of, you know, really we have it because we've got a 4-day meeting at Adelaide, and then it's sort of somehow morphed into Sydney Motorsport Park and here. So I'd be really interested to look at the numbers, and I'd be massively surprised if it's worthwhile.
To Matt and Brad on 13, 14 rounds, where do you stand? Where do you think we'll end up at?
I think he said Matt first, didn't he?
Yeah. Look, I think 14's the number everyone wants to hear, right? But you know, there's so much involved in putting something like that together. It's really hard to speculate.
For me, I think 14's the right number for us to do in the championship. We've got a bit of work to do, obviously, with supercars to get everyone happy with that, and we're working really hard on it at the moment. But I think that you know, considering we've locked 2 races into New Zealand, it's important that we are around there. Otherwise, we're going to have 10 races in Australia.
And lastly, I think we'll see. Brad, in terms of if that Jackson Darwin chassis is no good, is there like any chance that you may or may not have to, you know, use the centre section that you're building for the Supra, you know, as a last resort if something happened, heaven forbid? Yeah,
quite possibly. I mean, for me, ideally, we went for 1 full season without a spare car, so we've nearly finished the first Supra centre section, and it would be a pity to, you know, cut that up a little bit to turn it into a Camaro. But if that's what we have to do, I mean, there are other options around. You know, we could go and rent a car or someone for a little bit. So I'm not, you know, I don't want that to impact on what we're trying to achieve next year. So it's just something that we'll look at and work out at the time.
And sorry, how many, 1 or 2 new chassis for next year?
I'm not sure. Right now, we're going to do 1 complete new car, and then I don't know. I don't know whether we'll just see how we're going for time. Depends on when all the panels and stuff get here. There's a lot of moving parts at the moment.
Excellent. Cool. Well, I think that finishes things up there. Thank you guys for joining us, and best of luck rest of the weekend here at the NTI Townsville 500.
Thank you.
Thank you.